we're starting with Iowa. Iowa primary, 4 days away. We have a Republican election coming up.
Yes, and listen, Iowa is like a holiday to me. I love it. I look forward to it. Every presidential election, it is my bread and butter. But this year, it is boring as hell because the person who is leading is up by like 25 points. But obviously being Donald Trump in that case.
Yes.
If you don't know him, he's kind of a national figure, but I understand if it kind of went under the radar for you.
If you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years, you might not know what we're talking about.
So I do want to give a little bit of background history about Iowa because it is kind of interesting. Iowa has been the first in the nation to vote for president in the primary since 1960, when Democrat activists fought to make their voice more prominent in choosing who gets to be the nominee for the party's president. And that's really, really interesting. It kind of shows how like committed the people of Iowa are to practicing this form of localized democracy. Mm-hmm. Even the caucus process is super interesting. On my bucket list, and this might be I might be the only person in the world that has this on their bucket list, but I want to go to an Iowa caucus one day before I die.
You probably are the only person in the world.
I really do, though. I one year I'm going to make it out there.
Yeah.
And I want to report on it and see it real time because it's so interesting. People will go into a gymnasium of a school, of a cafeteria, of even like a church building or something. Maybe not a church building, but you know what I'm saying. A large venue hall. And they will go to the physical corners of the room to show their support for each candidate. And it's so interesting. Yeah. And then they go up and they debate and they talk. And then some people change sides to the other side of the room. And it's this very fluid, very participatory practice of democracy that I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It makes it seem like people are so much more open than if you're online, it ever seems people are, right? Exactly. When you're online, everyone seems extremely stubborn, stuck in their views. It seems like it's hearkening back to hopefully you would think a better political time.
Yeah, where people actually like cared to talk about politics with all their neighbors, yes, right? And actually debate the issues. And that's cute. I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
They would actually listen to what other people had to say.
What a shocker.
And give consideration to their ideas. That's insane.
Not me. No, I'm kidding. So, but Iowa has a history of being very, very important in throwing candidates onto the national stage. This happened with Obama in 2008. In 2004, Obama was a nobody until he gave the keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention to bring John Kerry as the Democratic nominee. After that, he gave this wonderful speech about pretty much nothing, but as some of the best oratory skills I've ever seen portrayed. And then he runs against Hillary Clinton for president in 2007, 2008. So when we get into Iowa, before Iowa, right? Obama is 20 points behind Hillary Clinton in the polling averages. A massive, massive deficit. Mm-hmm. But Obama wins in Iowa, and just like that, overnight, he starts tying her nationally. Mm. And that just goes to show how much the Iowa effect can have on a candidacy. It throws you on the national stage. You get to give that prime time speech at 9 p.m. where everybody's tuned in. You really get to make your voice heard and make a name for yourself in a way that if you don't win Iowa and you're a nobody, it's very hard for people to care about you. Yeah. Now, it kind of has a little bit different of a reputation in Republican politics. In 2016, Ted Cruz won Iowa. He did not become president, thank God. Then we had Rick Santorum. He won Iowa in 2012. Rick Santorum was a Pennsylvania senator, and Mitt Romney won the nomination that year. So Iowa isn't as much of a bellwether as it is in the Republican Party as it is for Democratic politics.